Hey there, Mr. Yellow or Huang Lao Shi here. Today we're going to talk about a really useful and important topic. That topic is using "给" to give to show the recipient of an action. This is often translated with the English preposition to or for, and sometimes there's no direct English equivalent at all. An example would be 妈妈给我买了一本书. Mom bought me a book. Why does Mandarin use "给" here? You can see that if we translate this literally, it would be Mom gives me buy a book. We're going to talk about why this structure with "给" is used instead of the sentence structure we see in English. So let's get started. Before we get started with this construction, we need to go over some basic terms. A sentence has three main parts. A subject, the thing that does the action, a verb, the action itself, and the object, the recipient of the action. Verbs themselves can also be divided further by the amount of objects that can follow them. In English and Mandarin, for example, some verbs can't take any object and be grammatically correct. For example, to die. We could easily say 他死了, he died. But we can't put an object right after it in English or Mandarin. 他死了番茄. He died tomato. Yeah, that's not right. These kind of verbs are called intransitive verbs, when they can't have any object come after it. Now, some verbs do take an object. For example, to love, 爱. We could say, I love you, 我爱你. You, or 你, is our object. These verbs that take an object are called transitive verbs. But this verb can only take one object. It would be completely ungrammatical to say, 我爱你一本书, I love you a book. Yeah, it sounds just as wrong in Mandarin as it does in English. There is another subset of transitive verbs that can take more than one object, though. These are called ditransitive verbs. Di means two. So these verbs, of course, take two objects. A direct object and an indirect object. A great example of a ditransitive verb in English and Mandarin is 给, to give. We can say, 我给他一本书, I give him a book. Here we have two objects. Him, which is the recipient of giving a book, also called an indirect object, and a book, which is the thing directly acted upon by the verb give, aka the direct object. Here's where English and Mandarin start to diverge a little bit more in their grammar. In English, ditransitive verbs are much more common than in Mandarin. In Mandarin, only a few verbs can be described as ditransitive. For example, 给, 送, 告诉, and some others. Most verbs you're going to encounter will be either intransitive or transitive, or both. But that's a lesson for another time. In English, though, we love us some ditransitive verbs. And this takes us back to that very first sentence we looked at. Mom bought me a book. Let's analyze this using our new knowledge about verbs. Looking at the English, we can see that bought is a ditransitive verb that takes me and a book. Me is the recipient of the action of buying the book. A book is the thing being bought. Here is where we run into a problem, though. In Mandarin, 买, to buy, is just a normal transitive verb that takes only one object. So how can we express the indirect object me from our English sentence? That's where 给 comes in. 妈妈给我买了一本书. Looking at this sentence, you should be able to see that 给 is placed before the verb and is followed by our indirect object. And then the verb and its direct object come right after. In this place, 给 is more like a preposition. This is a very common construction in Mandarin, just like our ditransitive verbs are in English. Here are a couple more examples where you would see this construction. 妈妈给我打电话. The verb 打 only takes one object, so we have to use the 给 construction to show our indirect object. 护士给你量体温. The nurse takes your temperature. In this example, it would be literally, the nurse takes you the body temperature. But of course, that's not how we would say it. But the meaning of the Mandarin is the same as the nurse takes your temperature in English. There's quite a few of these verbs that can take this construction, so go out, find some good ones, and leave them in the comments showing the construction using "给." So, now we should know why we saw that "给" construction in the first sentence. It's because while some verbs in English take two objects, those same verbs in Mandarin may only take one. So to show the indirect object in those sentences, we use the preposition 给. And if you like this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe to learn even more Mandarin. Until next time, 下一次见.